What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm here in front of the Broadway gateway to Chinatown, which is actually new Chinatown, though it dates back to 1938, to tell the story of a complex history, dynamic and glorious, yet rife with struggle and trauma. Let's get into it. There have been multiple iterations of Chinatown in Los Angeles from the 1860s to the present, but almost nothing remains of the original Chinatown, which developed near Alvarez Street in the mid-19th century. The earliest version, Old Chinatown, was located where Union Station is now. The community was populated with laborers, laundrymen, and railroad workers recruited mostly from the Canton region in southern China. By 1870, LA was a city with approximately 5,000 people, around 200 of them Chinese. Half of them lived on Calle de los Negros, an alleyway tucked between El Pueblo Plaza and Old Arcadia Street. It wasn't long before anti-Chinese sentiment ran high, and Old Chinatown erupted into the Los Angeles Chinese Massacre of 1871 after a police officer and civilian were shot during a gunfight between rival gangs. A mob of 500 people laid siege to Chinatown's most important buildings. They robbed, beat, and murdered 21 people, more than 10% of the Chinese population of Los Angeles at the time. In 1882, the xenophobia continued as the federal government passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, preventing Chinese immigrants from owning property, becoming citizens, and other harsh restrictions. Nevertheless, Chinatown flourished and expanded eastward. As LA expanded, industrialists came in and figured out that the land was valuable, and they decided to build a train station, in the process, leveling much of Old Chinatown. Today, the Chinese American Museum at the Grainier building is one of the last surviving structures of Old Chinatown. Enter Peter Suhu, a Chinatown native who graduated from USC in 1923 and was the first Chinese American employed by the DWP. In a genius move that would forever change the history of Chinese people in Los Angeles, Suhu stumbled across Santa Fe Railway land and partnered with Herbert Latham and created a workaround for Chinese people to buy land. Along with 27 other people, Suhu helped bring New Chinatown to life. In June of 1938, New Chinatown debuted with the grand opening of Central Plaza, located off of College Street between Broadway and Hill. It was the first solely Chinese-owned commercial property in the United States. Also in 1938, a new Chinatown came into being, China City, which was built exclusively to attract American tourists. It didn't work and only lasted for 10 years. Suhu's New Chinatown, on the other hand, thrived as it was owned and managed by people within the Chinese community itself. Also instrumental in the growth was F. Chao Chan, who launched Cathay Bank to help Chinese people secure loans. The 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act loosened strict quotas and the area began to diversify. Recent years have seen the seeds of a renaissance being planted along Chungking Road with art galleries, as well as awesome restaurants. With a history that's both tragic and inspirational, New Chinatown is the perfect name for a place where mysteries have been unlocked and the future is yet to be written. All right, LA, it's been a minute.